Hello, and welcome to the second video in the series, How to Reference in the Harvard System. In the first video, we explored in-text referencing, which I explained is the first part of a two-part system. In this video, we will focus on what information is needed for the bibliography. The bibliography is the second part of the system, but it is of equal importance. In this lesson, we will look at what is a bibliography, why is it different to in-text referencing, what information do we need in each entry, and how do we format it correctly. The final two sections are closely connected, so I encourage you to pay close attention to these sections and regularly revise them before submitting your assessments. If you have never referenced before, you may be unfamiliar with what a bibliography is. Quite simply, it is a systematic description of articles, books, recordings, videos, and works, their authorship and publication information. And any in-text reference used within the essay must appear in the bibliography. But you can also include any other sources that have helped you in your research as part of the bibliography, even if you have not used these sources as in-text references. In fact, by informing the reader or marker of these additional materials used to carry out your research, you are demonstrating the extent of your reading and listening without having to cite each and every item. After all, one source may have led you to another, but it might not be possible to quote or paraphrase every single source explored during the research process. That being said, don't just include materials you haven't used at all to bulk up your bibliography. It will be obvious to the reader or marker what sources were read and which were not. Let's return to the paragraph we used in the last video. Remember, we had a direct quote from Scott Huntington, written in 2014, and a paraphrase quote from Peter Burkholder, written in 2015. I explained that including the author's surname, year, and page number were a fragment of a larger citation found in the bibliography. The bibliography comes at the end of an academic essay, and here is how the information will appear. The bibliography in the Harvard's referencing system is normally presented in alphabetical order by each author's surname. I have added one more source, Richard Truscott. Can you spot the difference across these three sources? Richard Truscott's source is an academic book. I can spot this immediately from how the bibliography is formatted. But how? Well, in the first instance, we need the author's surname, the initial of their forename, and this is followed by the year. The title of the book appears in italics. Then there is the place of publication and the publishing company. If applicable, the series or volume number should appear at the end. This is because several academic texts are published as a series of several volumes, so we need to know which one was used to carry out this research. Some academic books might actually be edited collections. These are books that include chapters from several different authors and may be edited by one or more people. If you are just citing the whole edited collection, perhaps because it was a good source, but you didn't directly quote or paraphrase anything in your assessment, it is important that all the editors appear in the bibliography, even if there is more than one. Make sure to separate the final two authors or editors with and if there are editors for this collection, make sure to tell the reader so by including this abbreviation. If you have quoted a particular chapter in an edited collection, the bibliography citation slightly changes. This time, the author of the chapter and the chapter title need to be included. For example, say I had directly quoted from Lawrence Levin's chapter on the musical Odyssey of an American Historian, which appeared in the edited collection Music and History. I don't want to just cite the editors, since the quote wasn't written by them. So I include the author of the chapter, the year, and the chapter title, before including the editor's names, book title, place of publication, and publishing company. I also need to include the page numbers for the chapter so that it can be easily identified by the reader or marker of my essay. Here is a helpful hint. Try to find an edited collection in the library and have a look at the individual author chapters as well as the editorial team. This will help you understand what information is needed for the bibliography. Also pay attention to the format for each citation, as there will be slight changes depending on the source. Here is the format for a book. Between the surname of author and their initials, there should be a comma and a full stop after the initial or initials of their forename. The year of publication should appear in brackets, and the title of the book is in italics, followed by a full stop. The place of publication and the publisher are separated by a colon, with a full stop to finish off the entry. I will note the differences in the formatting an article entry and a website entry later in the video. The next type of bibliography citation you are most likely to use are articles. The information needed and the format are very similar to an individual author chapter in an edited collection. We still need the author and the year, but we also need to include the title of the article in quotation marks. The title of the journal should appear in italics, since this is the main publication. Finally, double check the volume and issue number in which the article appears. Some journals put out 2 issues per year, while others publish 4 per year. So it is important to include this information to help the reader find the journal article later. Remember, the page numbers for the journal article should come at the end of the citation. Some online journals will have DOIs, or Digital Object Identifiers. Essentially, this is a direct, stable link to the article. All online journal articles should have a DOI, and this should be included after the page numbers in the bibliography citation. The next common bibliography entry you will most likely use are websites. For the most part, we include all the same information: author, year, title of the article, title of the website if there is one, but make sure to add the website address and the date we access the website. So many websites go on and offline without warning, so including the link proves that on the date you access the site, it was live. A word of warning: many websites are not credible and will contain a lot of illegitimate information. Try to be critical of the information found, especially if the website does not have a listed author or date the page was updated. If you have trouble finding this information, scroll to the very bottom of the page and you may find a copyright stamp and year. If the author's name does not appear in the source, whether it be a book, article, or website, check if it has been published by an organisation, such as the BBC. In this case, lists the organisation as the author, as you can see in the following example. If there is no organisation and no author, simply miss out the author and begin with the year, as you can see here. If there is no date for the source, simply write no date in brackets. A word of warning: book publications are sometimes reissued. The book may have been reissued in 2009, but it was actually published in the 1990s or earlier. Double check the edition and issue date and make sure the book has the most up-to-date and relevant information. The same goes for all websites. In this lesson, we have looked at three main source types you will use when researching and writing an academic essay. However, in music, we also have to use a number of other sources, including recordings, scores, and even video, and the referencing can be a little more complex. The general format for the reference, however, is the same throughout. We will discuss this in more detail in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and in the next video, we will explore how to reference music-specific sources.